Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Abby and this is a very new setup, but actually we are in my bedroom and I actually have a little desk area that I'm kind of workshopping here as like my journaling slash planning corner. So today I wanted to catch up with you on some planning. I have two of my planning systems here. This is the traveler's notebook and then this is my plotter. I'm gonna show you how these two come hand in hand to manage my work life and personal life, and also my thought process with assigning tasks, color coding, how I make it easier for me. Although it's a question of, is it really easier? I don't know, but I just tried to make it work in my favor, so hopefully that would give you some ideas. I actually don't do that much planning content here, but I thought it'd be nice to geek out a little bit on the tasks that I do on the regular. So I hope you enjoyed this video and make sure to keep watching. First things first, this is my Dawn Books mini tote. I take this everywhere with me as I move from one room to another here in my apartment. We're currently in my bedroom right now, and it's a really snowy day. It snowed last night, so it's a bit gloomy, but I will show you some of the planners that I've been using. And throughout January, one thing I always do is like set up my systems, because every time I tell you about my planner system and journal system, obviously a lot of those things are still like kind of a work in progress, in the sense that I need to test them out for the first couple of days before I come to the conclusion that it actually works. And throughout January, I gave myself permission to not rush that process, because I know for a fact that I've done this before and I've tired myself out of forcing myself into systems and ways to plan that don't really work in my favor, because at the end of the day, I use these planners as a way for me to track my days, to make sure I get things done, and also have a written account of everything I did in order for me to, you know, look back and like reflect and be able to kind of make sense of my days in, I guess, like a planner perspective. Because journaling is different, but I feel like for planning, it also uses a different part of my brain in order for me to kind of channel my, you know, project management, time and energy management skills, if that makes sense. So this is my everyday work planner. So this one reads in Chinese. So fun fact, I'm actually Chinese. Jin Er Shi. So I would say it's like today's events, kind of. I got it from a store called The Little Whimsy, and I think it's from a Japanese brand or something, but I figured it would be a nice addition to everything that's already kind of on the cover. Right now I have two inserts here. So this is the monthly overview. I've been enjoying it so much. And this is what it looks like filled up. You know, there's a lot more things going on. So to make things more streamlined for me, I also did the same color coding as my weeklies. So everything red is a bit more urgent, and then the blue ones are meetup slash meetings. And then here and there, if I remember, I would also log everything I did, especially if it's like important that I needed to know when exactly I did it, or like if I ordered something online. I feel like those kinds of days are a bit harder to track, so I try to add them here. And then at the bottom, I have this like note section. So I just categorize them into four. I have home, which is like I got TV and stand, you know, like things I really needed to do this month. Socials, I've also started to plan that. And then travels as well are here. And then also 2026, I have done both of these. This is like a work overview. I know it's a silly thing, but I do so many things that sometimes it kind of blurs out in the distance and I don't really remember every single task I work on. So I also wrote this just so I have a blueprint of everything that I do on a regular basis. I have this section here was like discontinue. So there are things that obviously I want to carry over for 2026, but then there are other things that I realized tired me out too much at work, you know, working unholy hours or like doing several freelance projects in the same quarter is just not ideal for me because I have other obligations as well. And then the tasks that I do, I guess, like I do planning, I do a lot of brainstorming, and then there's filming, writing, admin. In the next spreads, I want to make like a year overview, like every month, what's like my focus point. I saw this from Caro's Techo Kaigi that she did on her Hobonichi weeks, which I think was great because you can also like kind of write out your events and then kind of figure out from there like how to prep accordingly or something you want to launch. I also want to focus on some months where I'm just like kind of hunkering down and studying. So let's talk about my planning in a little bit. Like let's plan the week together. But my GU has been serving me really, really well. In this context, I've also started to decorate a couple of pages. Yeah, right now it's empty for this week. But on a busy week, it is pretty full to the brim. And I think this is pretty much proof that my handwriting is just really tiny. Then again, I do use this Hobonichi pen. I really like it. I always talk about it. It's the Uni Jetstream. It has 3 colors and it's pretty straightforward enough that I could just start planning and get away with it. This is the most unanalog of me, but sometimes you just need a digital platform to put all your plans. So this is my week this week. It's all just in yellow because I don't really categorize them per type. I just kind of log everything and then use that as a jumping off point to plan my week. So today is the 26th. It's actually my day off. So I'm gonna write that in red here. The plan today is to go to IKEA around 11. I want to say 11 to 15 IKEA. And then I'll start to write everything else like my workout. So 9R gym. Okay, workouts are done. And then let's put in my meetings. I have a meeting with Modular. So this one is on site, so I have to go to Modular. ABCH, BizChat. So BizChat is with Christine of Everyday Express Co. We have like a monthly debrief of work stuff. And it's usually around the evening. So if that's the case, I already know that my morning I could take off because then I wouldn't have to, work overtime. Oh, I actually have a pretty flexible Wednesday. From the week before, there are some tasks that I did not accomplish and it's fine, Like for example, this one, I didn't do my design feb mail. Finances week, I did have a finance week, but I actually still need to make sure I pay myself by the end of the month. Fun fact, I actually don't pay myself, so I need to work on that, you guys. Rent. So finances, I also want to focus on prepping because my brother is visiting on the first week of February. I also have this whimsy category. I did start on my hyperfixation log. I also worked on my inspiration corner. Library card, I need to work on that too. So then I will just kind of loosely copy things. I do want to design my February mail. The inspo for Feb is Chinese New Year. This means luck in Chinese. So I was like, I wanted to do something with these kind of seals and I just wanted an excuse to use my knowledge with Chinese characters. And I used to do Chinese calligraphy in school. We grew up really in a very, I wouldn't say purely Chinese household, but close enough that I still have and carry the Chinese part in me in some way. The tasks here are kind of like running tasks and I don't know how fast I work on them. So then writing it on this corner just gives me a sense of, okay, these are the tasks. How do I plug them in throughout the week and make sure it gets done by Friday, for example, These to-dos here are like, I'll definitely add as I go. And there's no particular order or like location, but I just like to have like the first half work related, the second half a bit more like non-work, but also things I kind of need to accomplish throughout the week. So my whimsy one is my favorite because I get to figure out like maybe 3 to 4 activities that are fun to make to kind of keep me sane throughout the process of going through the week, With regards to the day, so let's say today, I just need to check IKEA furniture. I like looking online and then I would go to IKEA in person and then kind of make sense of things, do the measurements and stuff. And then I sometimes Photoshop like a sample of what my layout would look like or draw it. Send clips to guys. Oh yeah, I really need to think of a Substack essay this week. I don't know what, but I tried to post on Saturday, so Substack. Website update. Just the photos and like kind of like the accolades and stuff, and also like a YouTube end card change. It's been like 4 years, and pay myself by Friday. I think those are pretty much it for now. Now that that's out of the way for Monday, I want to show you a new insert that I want to workshop and use as part of my system. So I got this weekly vertical free diary from Louis Ban, and I wanted to use it as like a log. So the thing is, I used to log my days in a Moleskine B5 planner that was gifted to me. The problem being, it was too much of a chore to take it out all the time. So I figured by having it in the same cover, I think it'll be easier for me to refer back to it. And this one I think is good for, it says here 6 months. 6 months, 28 weeks. I like that it's very free, so you can, you know, log whenever. I used to journal with these, but I figured it was too narrow, so maybe the log would help. There's also this view at the first few pages, just like a spread. I don't know what to do with it yet, but it would be nice to track things here, like from 1 January to December. I don't know yet, but there's a lot of possibility, and you can't go wrong because I think the paper is top tier. So I'm gonna get a little garter to add it here. So then this would be a 3 notebook setup. But because it's not a journal, I think the 3 notebook setup will still be fine. I mean, look, it's still not so thick. So that is still a work in progress that I will definitely work on in the coming days. So this is a grid insert that is made with Tomorrow River paper. It's from Bonquin, and I have been using this as my private journal. I have been using this as like an end of week debrief with myself, and instead of writing super long form, I try to do numbers because my brain thinks in lists. So it's always like 7 things from the last 7 days. And then apart from my planner, this has been my everyday carry, and she's making a little comeback, you know. I thought I would not reconcile with my plotter this year, but I thought about like having the flexibility of having a notebook where I can just jot down multiple things and not worry about it taking up space. I always have this pen here. This is the Uni Style Fit. I think it's a nice set of pens. It has like 5 colors, and this is a gel pen, 38.38, and then I just kind of clip it here. You've probably seen it before with the strap. I decided to take it out first because then it's easier to just kind of shove it in my bag and, you know, start my planning. I was pretty happy setting this up. I think it was around the same day I watched Heated Rivalry, which was so funny to me because I think I was so busy tinkering with my papers. I was organizing stickers that morning, and then I was watching and I was so confused. I was like, wait, I needed to sit down and watch. But I managed to still set this up. And yes, I'm a huge fan of the show, like most of you are probably. So this is a library card that Michelle gifted to me a couple of months back, I think. It's just one of those like things that I get from my stationery stash. And then I found my Dymo label maker in my storage, and I decided to just punch out like a 2026 one there. Basically, when I open my plotter, I need to be excited to be opening it, you know? And seeing this really makes me happy because first of all, I am an author. Second of all, I like this very black and white. It's very Berlin to see this, like as a Berliner for 4 years now. It's just nice to kind of see this visually. And then when you flip it over, you have my vision board here. I stuck it here so it would be a nice addition because I think before I did have it printed out, but I think this is a better way because the way I formatted the wider one, the slimmer one rather, is a bit different. So this is what it looks like on my phone. I had to make an iPhone version because it's not, like this is really like more A6 size, and I really mostly wanted to paste it inside my Hobonichi Techo. So when you turn the page, you have this. This is actually a postcard that I got from the Art Institute of Chicago. This is Nighthawks. It's a painting by Edward Hopper. It's one of my favorite paintings of all time. I think Edward Hopper is amazing. His work just lets so much light in. I like the solitude of this painting in particular, and the colors are like super vibrant. And and it's kind of eerie, but I really like it. And also, realistically, this is one of the postcards that had like a bigger size, so I was able to cut it down to the narrow size and not sacrifice the artwork itself. So what I ended up doing here was going through my plotter, refills, inserts. I found that I still had like January to March 2026 weekly view, and I wanted for the longest time to write my meals. Not because I track my calories, but I just want to know what I'm cooking that week and what I'm eating. In an overview, I don't think it's for data, it's just for my personal records. And then from here, I have my meal plans here. I don't write beforehand, I write after. And then here on the left-hand side, I would track when I went out for coffee. And the red ones are actually for if I ordered something online. So how my brain works is like, I need to order things all at the same time and do it in one day. And I think that's how it's easier for me to kind of look back and realize, like, wait, I ordered this specific thing mid-January, then it's arriving at this day. So by writing them here, it's given me a lot of like, a clearer idea of how my spending has been. Although most of the things I've been ordering are also still for the apartment. Like, this is a never-ending process, you guys. One thing I started doing for fun was on the way home, I passed by one of the local bookstores here slash, office supply store, and I picked up these stickers of stars. And I was like, okay, every time I hit a workout or I go to a workout, I will do a star. My goal is like 3 to 4 times a week. So I think I've been kind of consistent since I got back mid-January about it. Been enjoying it. I think it's a nice little incentive that I get to put a star, and I always end up putting it right after I work out, so it's been really good. And then after the weekly view, I do have like a bunch of like to-do list things here. We also have this section, and this is a painting by, probably butchering the pronunciation, Kaim Soutine. He was a French painter, and he had an exhibition at the Louisiana Museum in Denmark, and I took home this postcard. I really love it. It feels like very moving kind of painting. Like, it doesn't feel very detailed. It's like in motion, and I feel like it's a good metaphor for my life. But this is the home section, so I decided to put this here. And I've been rearranging things in my apartment for some odd reason that I just feel like I've been bitten by the apartment bug and just feeling intuitive about it. So every time I do that or I plan accordingly, I would kind of draw it here and see how it would visually look before I actually decide on what to do. So one thing is actually this workstation, like this exact desk, because I've been positioning it either on the other side of my room or here, depending on the lighting and stuff. So I need to work on that. And then this is the TV, because I just got my TV, so I was working on if I put the stand, which I already ordered, what other accessories could I add accordingly. So it's been nice, because usually these things, I don't really have a place to put them. And now that I have them here, it's just easier for my brain to make sense. Also, we can all agree that I'm such a visual person, because look, I really need to see the changes happening. Initially, I wanted to put it in this project manager folder, but as you can see, I'm not using it as much, so I need to figure that out. I also have my finances corner, which I haven't really figured out as well, but I just need to work on my cash flow and stuff. And then at the back, I have like running to-dos of things. So one of them being headed to Chicago in March. I need to get a couple of things for friends. And then this one, I want to maybe draw or write vanity purchases. So vanity purchases is like, I got myself a nice long trunk bag on the way back to Berlin from Barcelona, and like I got a watch, like things like that. And also I had fun decorating, like designing the headers, because I used to do lettering, right? This has been really handy so far. So I actually don't know if I'll still get Hobonichi weeks, but just having a place to log my non-work life has been really refreshing, because I think it's a metaphor for also making work my entire personality, which I don't think is serving me anymore, especially now that I'm older and I've been doing this job for a really long time. So yeah, until then, I hope this was a useful look into my planning system for this year. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed this very casual setup. I am on a mission this year to just not overthink everything that I'm creating online. I think last year I really pushed myself with like content, and I think there is a certain sense of satisfaction. This is me gonna spiral into a semi TED talk. I love making content, but also I've been figuring out the best way for me to just simply click record and film versus like I've been so obsessed with like setting up a perfect shot and like making sure everything is like perfect. But at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, anytime I just get to yap and like share with you things is already a feat in itself. So I'm really working on that. I think this week, as you can see in the planner, I didn't really have big things lined up, mostly because it's gonna be a good excuse for me to kind of just let ideas simmer. So far though, the systems I've been implementing this January have been working in its favor, and I think that is a good thing to say and update with. I want to share you more of my journal pages and how I've kind of gone through the year so far in a future video. I know a lot of you also ask about journaling and fountain pen content, but yeah, I want to pace it out so it's not too overwhelming. Sometimes I think about content and also like the implications of it. I mean, I'm sure you know this for a fact. I try not to make videos about overconsumption, or I don't want to influence you to buy the next thing. The reason I have these things is because it worked for me, and I always say that because I am not in the business of encouraging you to buy more notebooks or buy more pens. It's always like finding the systems that work for you, and then you're able to kind of utilize it in the best way possible, and then you end up like using it, buying it and using it, and not just like having it in storage. I don't want to make videos just to tell you to buy things, because that is not my mission here on the internet. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Not my usual, but I'm trying to break out of my usual video styles this year. So let me know what your thoughts are and how you've been planning your days. And I will see you on the next video sometime in February. I hope you stay warm for those who are currently in the thick of winter, and I will see you soon. Bye!